Hey, what's going on everyone? Greg here, and when Apple unveiled the iPhone 12 on Tuesday, they didn't just reveal 4 new phones, they unveiled their iPhone lineup for the entire year, with the surprise of not only keeping the iPhone 11 in the lineup, but keeping the iPhone XR as well, both with a $100 price cut. This means that Apple now has their biggest, most diverse iPhone lineup ever, with price ranges starting at $399 for the iPhone SE, $499 with the iPhone XR,
$599
with the iPhone 11, $699 with the iPhone 12 mini, $799 with the iPhone 12, $999 with the iPhone 12 Pro, and $1,099 with the iPhone 12 Pro Max. So now with their biggest iPhone lineup in history and with so many options out there, which one should you choose as your main device in 2020 and beyond? And what key differences should you be made aware of before you complete your purchase? Well, I'm gonna start from the bottom here. So let's go from the iPhone SE and we'll work our way all the way up to the iPhone 12 Pro Max. So the iPhone SE starts at $399, and it's a pretty simple concept. It's a $400 phone with the older design of the iPhone 8, but with a more modern chipset with the A13 processor. That's the same processor as the iPhone 11, and because it's an older design, it has unique advantages as well as disadvantages when you compare it to the rest of the iPhone lineup. First of all, for fans of smaller phones, the iPhone SE has a 4.7-inch display, and it will be the smallest iPhone in the lineup until the iPhone mini is available in November. Also, because it has the A13 processor, it is currently one of the fastest iPhones available, again, until the new iPhone 12 comes out and usurps it. And the camera on the iPhone SE is a bit of a mix with the iPhone 8's hardware, but with modern computational photography of the A13 processor. This puts the iPhone SE a step above the iPhone XR camera, despite the fact that the iPhone XR is more expensive, but below the quality of the iPhone 11's camera. Because of its older design, it also has big bezels with a top forehead bezel and a bottom chin bezel, which is one of the biggest weaknesses when it comes to the iPhone SE. However, because it sports this older design, it does come with Touch ID, which a lot of users prefer, and honestly, it is a blessing during this time of wearing masks right now. The iPhone SE is the only iPhone in the lineup that has a fingerprint reader, so that could be a major benefit for you. All in all though, at $400 with its combination of features and the processing power behind this device, the iPhone SE is a terrific value, but it does have one major weakness, and that is the battery life. For light to medium users, it might be good enough to get you through the day, but for heavy users, you'll have to charge this phone halfway through the day to make it through your day. Its video playback rating for battery life is rated at about 13 hours, which is the weakest in all of the iPhones we will be looking at today. Now, here's where things get tricky, because if you're on a budget of around $400 to $500, you could make the decision to side grade to the iPhone XR. I say side grade instead of upgrade because the iPhone XR is better in some areas, but also worse in some areas. First of all, the iPhone XR has a much more modern design and a bigger 6.1-inch display compared to the 4.7-inch size of the iPhone SE. However, a big feature with the iPhone XR is that it has much better battery life when you compare it to the iPhone SE, easily lasting through a full day of use with a rating of around 16 hours of continuous video playback. That's 3 more hours than what you get with the iPhone SE. Now, even though this phone is priced $100 more than the iPhone SE, it's also an older phone than the iPhone SE, and not everything is better, because instead of the A13 processor, you get the A12 processor, which honestly should still be plenty fast, and maybe you won't even notice a difference between that and the A13 in daily use, but you also run the risk of not getting as many software updates as you might with the iPhone SE. Secondly, the camera quality on the iPhone XR is a bit worse than the iPhone SE. Even though the iPhone SE is technically using older camera hardware, the computational photography advancements and improvements on the iPhone SE because of the A13 processor make it a better camera in most situations than the iPhone XR. Lastly, the max storage configuration you can pick for the iPhone XR is 128 gigabytes. Now, while I recommend both iPhone SE and iPhone XR shoppers spend the additional $50 $150 to get that 128 gigabyte boost. You can theoretically get more storage on the iPhone SE if you need it, because you can get storage all the way up to 256 gigabytes. Okay, well, what if you like the better camera and A13 chip in the iPhone SE, but you want the design of the iPhone XR with Face ID and better battery life? Well, luckily, Apple has also kept the iPhone 11 in the lineup at a reduced price point, now starting at $599. The iPhone 11 is pretty similar to the iPhone XR, but it does have some more advanced features than even the iPhone SE. For example, it not only has one wide-angle camera, but an additional ultra-wide camera lens as well, which is great for shooting photos of landscapes, large buildings, and trying to fit in a large group of people into a photo. You also get the benefit of night mode on the wide-angle lens, which makes the 11 a much better camera for low-light photos. In fact, one of the main reasons you should step up from the iPhone XR to the iPhone 11 is if you really care about camera quality. It's also worth the additional $100 for its camera features alone, and you even get a little bit better battery life too, with an additional 1 hour of video playback with the battery life rating over the iPhone XR. Alright, now that we've covered all the past phones in the lineup, it's time to get into the new iPhone 12 series, which brings us four new smartphones. Now, for this section, while I've reviewed every phone I mentioned before, I must state for full transparency that the iPhone 12 series of phones is not even out yet, and I'm going to be making a few assumptions based on specs and ratings on Apple's website, but for potential buyers of this 12 series, I do recommend you wait for the full review so I can validate these claims, but I'm just going to try and do my best right now with the information I have. Okay, so the first phone in the iPhone 12 lineup is the iPhone 12 mini. Now, just like the upgrade from the SE to the XR, going from the iPhone 11 to the iPhone 12 mini is a side grade again. Because believe it or not, some of the features are better on the iPhone 11, and you might prefer the form factor. So first of all, the iPhone 12 mini comes in a new compact size that is even smaller than the iPhone SE. However, unlike the SE, it has a brand new full screen redesign with even smaller bezels than the iPhone 11. That means that while the SE has a 4.7-inch display, the iPhone mini packs in a 5.4-inch display. So it's a much larger display than you would think given its small size. That's thanks to the OLED display, which offers a better 2,000,000:1 contrast ratio, perfect black levels, and the ability to watch HDR content. This is the cheapest OLED iPhone that Apple currently sells in the lineup, with all the previous iPhones I mentioned before having LCD displays. Apple also says that this design is their strongest design yet, with claims of 4 times more durability over the iPhone 11 with a new ceramic glass shield, and even better water resistance of up to 6 meters for 30 minutes. The iPhone 12 also comes with the A14 processor, which looks to sport about a 20% performance gain over the older A13 chip, and you get a 5G phone, which should theoretically lead to faster cellular service if you live in an area with a 5G connection. However, depending on where you live or what cellular carrier you use, you may see mixed results, at least for now. But if you plan to keep the phone for 3 or more years, getting a 5G phone now could prove advantageous as cell carriers continue to expand their 5G networks. You also get Apple's new MagSafe system, which will offer new magnetic charging accessories on the back of the phone, as well as special cases, wallets, and maybe even some other third and first-party accessories coming in the future. You also get Apple's latest cameras with a new wide-angle lens with an f1.6 aperture that lets in 27% more light when you compare it to the iPhone 11. This should make it even better for low-light photos. You also get Apple's new computational photography enhancements, which lets you use night mode on all of the cameras, including the ultra-wide-angle lens and the front-facing camera, as well as improvements to their smart HDR algorithm and deep fusion technologies on all lenses. And you can now even record in Dolby Vision HDR, a first for a smartphone, at up to 30 frames per second. Now, remember when I said the iPhone 12 mini was a side grade? That's because if you want the bigger display, the iPhone 11 has a 6.1-inch display compared to the 5.4-inch display of the iPhone 12 mini. Also, the battery life in the 11 is rated at 17 hours of video playback, while the iPhone 12 mini is rated at just 15 hours of video playback, which means that the battery in the mini should be even weaker than what is in the iPhone XR, but it does have more battery life than what is stated for the iPhone SE. Now, if you liked all the modern features in the iPhone 12 mini, but you want the bigger form factor of the iPhone 11, well, then you need to step up to the regular sized iPhone 12, which starts at $800. The iPhone 12 has all the same features as the mini that I mentioned before and sports distinct advantages over the previous iPhone 11 by being 11% thinner, 15% smaller, and 16% lighter, all while maintaining that same battery rating of 17 hours of video playback. The iPhone 12 mini and iPhone 12 are also redesigns of the previous generation, so they have new flat edges that give it a brand new fresh aesthetic, so that might actually be a consideration if you really care about how your smartphone looks. Now, if you want to step up even farther than what the iPhone 12 is offering, that's when you need to turn your attention to the iPhone 12 Pro. The iPhone 12 Pro starts at $999. However, if you are comparing it against the regular 12, it's only really $150 apart because of the higher base storage on the iPhone 12 Pro, which starts at 128 gigabytes. Also, the iPhone 12 Pro can be configured up to 512 gigabytes of storage, while the iPhone 12 maxes out at 256 gigabytes. And if you're looking at RAM, the iPhone 12 Pro has 6 gigabytes of RAM, while the iPhone 12 only has 4 gigabytes. Again, I won't reiterate all of the iPhone 12 features for the Pro series. It has every other feature that I mentioned before. However, it does sport an even more advanced design with even thinner bezels, and instead of aluminum siding, it sports an even more premium polished stainless steel sides, which do look pretty nice in some of these new color options. The OLED display is also slightly better with a daily brightness rating of 800 nits of max brightness. Now, both the iPhone 12 and iPhone 12 Pro can get up to 1200 nits when watching HDR video, but when viewing normal content on the iPhone 12, it only maxes out at 625 nits of brightness, so the 12 Pro screens should be a little bit better in direct sunlight. However, the biggest differences between the iPhone 12 and iPhone 12 Pro come down to the camera system. The 12 Pro gets the same wide angle and ultra wide angle, but it also packs in an additional 2x telephoto lens. Furthermore, the iPhone 12 Pro also gets the new LiDAR scanner, which allows for night mode portraits, faster autofocus in low light, and a better augmented reality experience. On top of that, the iPhone 12 Pro can record Dolby Vision in up to 60 frames per second, while the 12 and the 12 mini max out at 30 frames per second. Also, if you want to take your photography game to the next level and use Apple's new Pro RAW format, you're going to have to get an iPhone 12 Pro, as the ability to get this Pro format that still keeps the computational photography elements of the iPhone 12 Pro are only available on the Pro models. They won't be available on the normal iPhone 12. Now, if you want the biggest, most expensive, money is no issue iPhone, you need to look at the top of the lineup with the iPhone 12 Pro Max. The iPhone 12 Pro Max gets all of the same features as the iPhone 12 Pro, but sports an even bigger 6.7-inch display. Because of its bigger size, it also does have the best battery life out of any iPhone in the lineup, with a rating of up to 20 hours of video playback. Now, besides the bigger size and better battery, the iPhone 12 Pro Max also has the best camera system, with even more advantages over the regular 12 Pro. First of all, the Max has a little bit of a better zoom level, going up to 2.5 times for the telephoto lens, and the main sensor is also better for the wide-angle camera, with a 47% larger sensor when you compare it against the regular-sized iPhone 12. Now, while I haven't had the chance to take pictures and compare these two phones, theoretically, this larger sensor should make it even better in low light and just lead to better pictures in general. And on top of that, it also has a new optical image stabilization method for the sensor that is specifically just on the Max model, so that should help when you're taking pictures of something and your hands are a bit shaky. Now, I know this guide went over a lot, and I hope it was helpful, giving you all the details and some of the different reasons to go for one iPhone model over another. If you have any other additional questions though, be sure to leave them in the comments below, and also let me know which iPhone in this lineup do you plan on purchasing. Also, if you did find this video helpful, show your appreciation by leaving me a like. If you want to see more from my channel, including a future review of all of the new iPhone 12s, make sure you're subscribed. If you want to help the channel out in any way, make sure you check out some of the links in the description. And as always, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all in the next video. Take care, everyone.